Hey guys, it's Krista, and I wasn't going to make this video for a few weeks, but I figured that now's a really good time to do it since I'm currently in between running from band to here, to home, back to band, and then to softball. So I figured I would make a video on why being a team member is so important. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that being on a team doesn't necessarily mean being a part of a sports team. Being a part of any club or any extracurricular activity is like being on a team. Being in bands like I am is such a team effort, and if the whole group isn't on the same page with what you're doing, it's gonna fall apart and you won't be able to perform or have a concert or do anything. So that's one thing I wanted to say, because when people think of teams, they think of sports. But there are some people who don't like sports, and that's completely okay. Like, I used to hate my sports, and I used to hate playing softball because I hated physical activity. But obviously, there are some people that like the musical arts, which I also enjoy. And then there are people who like math and science. There are people who like writing. And it's just, everyone's different, so everyone has different team commitments, and that's great. Being on band is one of the biggest commitments I have, because currently I'm in pit orchestra, jazz band, and my concert band, so being in jazz band takes up a full hour and a half of my nights on one day of the week, and that's a lot, especially when you have homework and projects that you have to do. So that on its own is a big chunk of my week already, especially when I have tests on Fridays usually. I can't study for as much, and it's harder. But I'm also in pit orchestra, which is 2.5 hours after school every single day, basically. And that interferes with my sports, which is my other big team commitment. And I play 3 different sports, and there are 3 different seasons, so my entire school year is sports, 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 band. And since I'm in AP classes too, it gets to be overwhelming, but that's not what I'm trying to get to with this video. What I'm trying to get to is, I'm trying to say being part of a team is so important. I personally know this with my fencing team, because I realized how much one single season with a group of people can change your life. Like, I went into fencing completely blind. I didn't know anyone, or I didn't even know what the sport was about, really. I just knew that you hit people with weapons and you try not to get hit. When I got there to the first day of tryouts, it was all conditioning. And I didn't understand why, but eventually I realized that you need to be in shape to play this sport. While that all was going on, the whole fencing tryout, I made some of the best friends that I've ever had in my life. This is the first team I've been on that everyone gets along. We're all happy with how everyone acts together, and there's not one person that thinks they're better than another, and that's what a team is about. So, the moral of my fencing story is that trying new things will benefit you. And even if you're scared to do it, be scared. Be as afraid as you want. But go and try it. Because if you don't know what you're going to be missing. Like, the day before tryouts, I was like, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't want to do it. Maybe it won't be fun. If I didn't do it, I would have had an entire season of going home on the regular bus, getting home at 2 o'clock, and doing nothing. Instead of going to practice, working my butt off and conditioning, but doing it with people that I genuinely love. Like, they're my family, and I'm so upset that the season's over, but I'm so happy to be going into my next sport, which is softball, and all the girls on that team too are like my family. And that's what being on a sport does to you, because you're together every single day, no matter what. You're together on Saturdays because you have early morning practices when you all are cranky and groaning, and you can groan together because you're all upset that you don't want to be there at 7 in the morning. And you're together every single day after school when you're like, oh wow, I just want to go home and take a nap. Basically, just try it. Just go out and try whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter if your friends are like, oh, that's gonna be weird. Do you know how many people told me that fencing is weird? Do you know how many people tell me that being in 3 different bands is like crazy? I mean, I know it's crazy because it takes up so much time, but I've met the most important people in my life from being on sports, essentially. Like, there's a few people that I've met from just taking a particular class. Like, one of my best friends, if I chose to take Spanish instead of Italian, I wouldn't have met my best friend. And if I chose to play lacrosse instead of softball, I wouldn't have met another one of my really great friends. So, essentially, you just need to get out of your shell and try what you know inside that you really want to do. Because if you don't do it, you're gonna regret it. And there's no other way to put it except for you're gonna be so upset with yourself that you missed out on an amazing opportunity. You're gonna see that team forming this amazing relationship, but you're not gonna be a part of it. And it doesn't matter if you don't have friends that are on that team. You'll become their friends. Because when you're together every day, like I said, you're bitching and moaning together, so what's gonna happen? You're gonna be like, oh wow, I hate that too, so we should probably be friends. And that's really how it happens. And who cares what anyone else thinks? And who cares if your friends don't want to do it? Even if you're skeptical about something, do it. Just try something. If you see something on a sign-up list and it just seems completely different to you, like a new cooking class or a new club for science, join it. If you like science, good. I love science. And people think I'm weird because I want to double up on sciences for my classes next year. But I'm probably going to do it anyway because I love science. And who cares if I have 4 periods of science in a day because of labs? Like, it's great. So, you need to, especially if you're in high school, you need to mold yourself now. And being a part of a team and having those commitments, no matter if it's a club, a part of music, theater, a team, like, you need to do it so you can find who you are and what you actually like to do. If you actually just sit through high school and get all A's and just don't do anything extra, colleges aren't gonna take you over someone who's well-rounded and is like, wow, I want to be in band, I want to be in a few sports, I like that club's cool, and they're still getting 90s, maybe even high 80s. Like, if you're well-rounded, that's the best thing that you could be, ever. I've realized that this video is getting really long, and I'm talking a lot, and I keep on repeating myself, but like I said before, moral of the story, try new things, and get out there. You're gonna love it, and the people you meet will surprise you, because you'll just think, wow, I would never think that I would be friends with this person. I would never think that I would be such good friends with 4 seniors and 11 and juniors that I'm really good friends with. I'm a sophomore, and one of my best friends now is a freshman. I wouldn't normally go outside of my own grade anyway. So it gives you a complete broadened age group, and the maturity levels are completely different, and you can have friends that are crazy and love to do wild things, and you'll have those friends that just like to sit in and watch a movie. And that's great, to have that option of what you want to do. And that's what high school is about, having any option that you want. So you need to go out and find some weird-ass club or weird-ass sport that you want to join, just like I did with fencing, and I said, hey, you know what, I want to dress up in that silly all-white uniform with that mask on, and I want to go and stab people. And you need to do the same thing, even if it's not fencing, even if it's something completely different and educational. Do it, and I hope to see you next week, because I'll be having a new video next Friday, and please subscribe and like this video. Bye!